Alright, so 2 minute Tanya tidbit for today. So in chapter 9, Parak Teves, we discussed that there's a war going on between the godly soul and the animal soul. Each one wants to fully rule over the body. And in Parak Yud, we discussed what this means by a tzaddik, that there's 2 different levels of a tzaddik. Some people are a tzaddik gomor, or are a complete tzaddik, and there's only good within them. All of that has been fully chased away, and there's no more rulership of the bad whatsoever. Then there's someone called a tzaddik v'cheina gomor, a not complete tzaddik, or a tzaddik v'ralei. He has a little bit of bad, but the bad is nullified to him, as he's the only thing that's in charge over there is a godly soul. In Parak Yud Aleph, chapter 11, we're going to do today, it speaks about the 2 levels that exist within a Rasha. There's a Rasha gomor or a Rasha she'ena gomor, also known as a Rasha v'tevlei or a Rasha v'ralei. And this is the same 2 levels, like we said before about a tzaddik, just the opposite way around for a Rasha. And we say that the idea of a Rasha v'tevlei is someone who's Rasha v'tevlei. Even though he's evil, he's in general wicked, but he has good within him. Now, there's a lot of different levels within that. There's a lot of, the one level is the idea of someone who's totally good in general, but he has sometimes that he falls through. He does have errors sometimes. And that time, that evil is ruling over. And so there's a lot of different levels that could be within this range. There's firstly the amount of good that's there, and the amount of evil that's there, as well as the quality, the different types of sins which exist over there. So for example, someone who in general serves God, but he falls through in one of the category, that once in a while the evil rules over and gets him to do a sin in his thoughts, or his speech or his action, which would mean an action that he's willing to do an avera and do an action of something which is wrong. Or in his speech that he's going to say words which he's not supposed to say, like avak lashon hara, something which is small, insignificant, but it's an avera nonetheless. Or thoughts, as someone's thoughts are very powerful. So if someone thinks thoughts against Hashem, they're even worse than a sin, as it says in certain places of Chachamim. So even though it's only one garment that the nefesh habahamis, the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara, rules over, but at that time the evil inclination is there. And obviously as soon as that small thing passes, he'll ask Hashem for tshuva, and he does tshuva properly. The way the Chachamim explain, as we're going to discuss later from Tanya Dvei Rabbi Shmuel, that there's different ways of doing tshuva, but as soon as he does tshuva, Hashem will forgive him, and he's going to be totally back to being normally good. This is called the Rasha v'tevlei, that even though he's in general, he sometimes does sins, but he also has good within him, and therefore he's going to come to regret those sins, and he's going to come back to connecting to Hashem. And then there's a lower level, someone who falls through in all 3 categories. That was about someone who's only in one category. But there could also be someone who falls through in all thought, speech, and action. But still, he'll be aroused to come to do tshuva, and therefore he's called a Rasha v'tevlei, that nonetheless, even though he is a Rasha in a certain sense, tevlei, he in general is a good person. But then there's someone who's a Rasha v'ralei, which is someone who doesn't have any good within him, meaning he totally chased it away from being in his physical body, but rather it hovers above him. Obviously, a Jew can never get rid of his godliness fully, but it's not in his body, rather it's on top of him. And that's Rasha v'ralei, that there's bad within him, that he doesn't have the godly soul being able to take action, so he doesn't ask God for forgiveness, and he doesn't regret the sins that he does. Yet nonetheless, as we said before, it's still there above him. And that's why it says that if there's 10 Jews gathered together, even if they're totally Rishayim, the godliness still hovers upon them. So the Shekhinah is still fully there, just upon them as Akol Be'asara. On top of them is the Shekhinah, because it can never fully leave a Jewish person. See you next time.